banging out. Ain't no hanging out. Transforming style, heat your grill. Gas alligators, lock and roll. Shake, rattle, and roll. Fall and shake, listen, prick. Cause we strapped, we ready. It's wartime, we ready. We on time, boy. Everything from text to Tommies. Philly niggas crash the party. Wet your body.
Leslie Edward Pridgeon, also known as Freeway, born August 6, 1978. In the early 2000s, a rap group by the name Rockefeller Records made the ascendance and took over the rap industry and are known today as one of the best hip-hop conglomerates in history. There's no question Rockefeller at some point was on the top of the game, and a huge reason was because with the addition of Philadelphia and rappers like Freeway, the label found success. Freeway was in the same vein as the many gritty, harsh reality storytellers from the city of brotherly love, but he was also very different in that to this day, no one comes to mind as a direct comparison to his pitched voice, tied with versatile bars ranging from street life and hood ties to flossing and doing what Rockefeller was known for. Every time I hear his name, I can't help not crediting him for inspiring one of Jay-Z's hardest bars ever. Bang like T-Mac, ski mask aired out, gotta kill the witnesses cause free beard sticking out. A line from a rapper in a time and space we may never see or hear again. Jay was different, Beans was different, and usually forgotten, Freeway was different too. He was expected to take the lead role at points where Beanie Sigel took steps back for recent album releases or one of his not-so-minor incarcerations. For a short period of time, he was, until things fell apart, leaving Freeway, like most his Rock La Familia family, out to dry. Leslie would earn his rap name by doing just that, rapping. The name change was easy for him as he thought he'd need one because according to him, no one wanted to listen to a rapper named Leslie. He was everywhere in the city, battling, making one connection at a time. At one of his showings, Beanie Sigel happened to be in the audience and the two instantly became cool. When Beans got on at Rockefeller, he put in a word for Freeway and the rest was history. Stunt number 1, why you ain't come see me, man? It's how Beanie Sigel felt about all his artists who were even seen as his friends at one point. After being signed by Jay-Z and added to the State Property sub-label, Freeway hit the ground running as the underboss of sorts to Beanie Sigel. Beans was absolutely on fire around the release of his second album, The Reason, that featured Freeway. In the same year, Freeway took part in maybe the most memorable hip-hop battle of all time with Stunted Growth alumni Cassidy, and by all accounts, lost that sparring match, mainly because at the very end, instead of continuing rapping, he asked to quote,
Put a beat on.
Straight raw, man.
You can't put a beat on?
Straight raw.
Put a beat on. I want to spit over a track.
To which Swizz Beatz and the rest in attendance saw as an admittance of defeat. Many credit that as a growth stunt in his career that may have changed the course of how he was viewed in the industry, and with label head Jay-Z, who handpicked Freeway to battle Swizz's new artists. Who knows how different things may have been had he won that battle, but that wouldn't stop him from releasing his debut album in 2003 called Philadelphia Freeway. The Bink, Kanye West, Just Blaze produced album reached number 5 on Billboard, sold over 500,000 copies, and was no question his best album under Rockefeller, which isn't saying much seeing as he'd only released 2 albums with the label. The very next year, the Rockefeller breakup happened as label heads Dame Dash and Jay-Z decided to part ways. Keep in mind, this all happened while Beanie Sigel was doing a bid in prison for attempted murder. While locked up, the label split left all its members scattering to find a landing spot, even their next gig. As Sigel sat in prison, he waited for loyalty, at least amongst his State Property team, to show, but only Oskino ever showed up to visit him, making him so disappointed that when he was released, he vowed to break up the group, and that all but nailed his artists, including Freeway, in a coffin. With no Jay-Z or Dame backing, Sigel in hindsight was the last hope. He would begin working with Freeway again, but at that point, the name and flame they had fizzled out and nothing ever came of it. Stunt number 2, Journey to Forgotten. After Rockefeller and state property began to have their issues, Freeway decided to take his Hajj, an annual journey to the holy city of Mecca, in which all Muslims are required to do at least once over their lifetime. He returned and began working on a new album set to release in 2007, 4 years after his first was released. Of course, his journey to Mecca wasn't the only occupation of his time. Dealing with the rock splitting, state property not on the right footing, and most importantly, music changing with the South taking over, and even a new era aesthetically. Freeway's sound and aesthetics was beginning to fade to a place it wouldn't come back from. His very distinct voice was interesting enough that actually would transition in any era in my opinion, but hip-hop I think was done with the baggy jeans and raps about hustling on the block until the sun came up, grimy attitude, and even the more laid-back soul beats. Those transitions were happening at the same time fans who were growing had to decide which artists would fit them and be the soundtrack to their life at the time. With Freeway's hiatus, he was out of the game and the spotlight, therefore wasn't an option. If that went on too long, it's only expected the results of that show in the numbers. His second album would release at the end of 2007, which debuted at 36 on the Billboard charts and sold 36,000 copies in its first week, eventually selling just over 100,000. A clear indication that hiatus, along with the Rockefeller breakup, mixed with the climate of hip-hop changing, wasn't positive for his growth as an artist. Jay-Z would step down from Def Jam as president December 2007, just after Freeway's second album dropped, and in 2009 he began working on a third project, which was set to be released without Rockefeller or the backing of Def Jam. It sold just over 5,000 copies first week. His first album came in 2003, and by 2009 or around 2007's release, his career declined into what we see today, sort of forgotten as the years goes by. Stunt number 3, Carried. The final growth stunt, in my opinion, of Freeway as an artist is the fact not all artists are able to carry themselves into stardom. It's the same saying as not everyone can go. Some you can carry there, but when that stops, can they pick up and drag themselves? This was the case for almost all of Rockefeller's artists outside of Kanye, Cameron and Dipset, and Beanie Sigel had he not gotten shot, and that changing his sound physically. They've been carried for so long, not having to be the face or mouthpiece of the brand, to where it was easy for them to just show up and do what they did, rap. Do shows, promote yourself at radio stations, get back in the studio and make more music. When you're not under an umbrella as big as Def Jam and Rockefeller, you begin to notice how much goes into keeping the attention of the fans. The money it costs, the charisma you have to display at all times, the business deals you have to do to keep things going, along with continuing to make good music with A1 production as before. Not everyone is built for that, and although Freeway kept hustling and dropping albums, it wasn't the same as before, while the music kept sounding the same or to a lesser standard. He'd be diagnosed with kidney failure in 2015, which hindered him making music from then on. He received a transplant in 2019. In 2020, he dealt with the loss of his son, who was also a rapper. Condolences to his family, and I hope they're all doing well. All in all, Freeway, the artist and person, has lived a great life. He was a part of one of the biggest movements ever in hip-hop, experienced legendary moments in the game, and got to put out music the world will have in some capacity forever. Sure, he would have wanted it to last a little longer, but for what it or he will remain in the history of music is something he can be proud of. Salute to him, much respect, but for these reasons, his growth was stunted. It's your boy JC, Stunted Growth, and I'm out.